Hello, it's Linda Candy from Golf Mental Tips, and today we're going to have a different video. I'm not going to give you a tip of the day, but what I am going to leave you with is something that will really help your golf. Today I'm going to do two things. I'm going to tell you a story and I'm going to set you a challenge. And I hope when I throw the gauntlet down that you pick it up and you accept the challenge, because this is what's going to magnificently improve your golf. Your golf is going to be significantly improved if you just accept this challenge. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. Now, my story today is about me. And it's about me because I want you to understand how I can help you and what experience I've had in the past that will help you, that will benefit you. So let me start from the beginning and tell you I've always had an interest. I've always had a fascination with how our mind works to either enhance our life or not disenhance, I don't think that's a real word, but to pull our life down and our ambitions and everything else we do. Our mind can work with us or against us. And I can remember going back a long time ago when I first realised this. I was just a young child, maybe 11, something like that. And I was walking with my dad, and it was in winter, and we were in Yorkshire in England. And my father comes from Yorkshire, but I was brought up overseas a lot of my life, so I wasn't used to the cold. And this cold was so cold, it was bitter. The snow was so high, it must have been up to here. Well, slight exaggeration, but it was cold, and we didn't have a car. So everywhere we went, we either had to walk or we caught public transport. This particular day, I was walking back from school with my dad, and he was commenting on how cold it was and maybe we should walk faster to get our bodies going and to feel warm. And I've thought about this, and I can remember saying to my dad, "Dad, if you just relax against the cold, relax your body and let your mind wander somewhere else, it actually doesn't feel as cold." And he couldn't understand what I was saying, and he just thought, oh gosh, it's a child just talking about things and making things up. And he didn't even give it a try. He kind of patted me on the head and we just walked on that little bit faster. But anyway, we eventually got home and it was lovely and warm and cosy. And the thought went out of my head, and probably my dad never gave it another thought. But my fascination with the mind and how it works developed. And when I left school, I went to train to be a psychiatric nurse. And then I went to work with an industrial psychologist. And all the time, I was learning things and feeding my brain and learning just how people tick. I was learning things about cognitive behavioural therapy, and I was learning about neuro-linguistic programming. And to me, it was amazing. It was almost magic. That's how I can describe it. It was just magic how I could see how people could relate to each other and how people didn't work and what pulled people down. Well, this went on and it developed that I went and I trained to be a hypnotherapist. Wow, this really opened my eyes, because now I could see amazing results that I was getting with clients. But my thirst for knowledge was still great. I still wanted to know more. I wanted every little bit of knowledge there was out there. So any course that I could go on, I went on. I specialised in so many areas. I specialised in helping women use self-hypnosis for comfortable births. I learned how to help people with fertility. I learned how to help with irritable bowel syndrome, panic attacks, fears, phobias, you name it, I was out there. was taking all this knowledge in, And while this was going on, I had a mismatch of clients. I had clients from every walk of life with every known condition. They could be psychological conditions, they could be medical conditions, they could be just issues that they built up into their head and they just needed a little bit of tweaking to put them to one side. But a tiny portion of my clients were sportsmen and athletes. I was working with tennis players and racing drivers and boxers and golfers. And this side of my client I found really, really enjoyable. I loved watching them improve their sports. I loved hearing their wins. I loved watching them on television. If they were on television, I loved hearing about what was happening when they came back. I would go to their events and see them perform. And it was such a thrill. But I didn't realise that this side of my client base was growing. And gradually, I was letting the other side go in. I was devoting more and more time on my sports clients, which was so thrilling, such a winning way of working. Well, while my business background was going on there, just ticking along in the background of my life, my family life was there. And my family consists of myself, my husband, a son and a daughter. Oh, and a dog and a cat. I better not forget them because they think they're an integral part of the family as well. Well, my family life was going on, and my husband is a keen golfer, a hobby golfer, nothing more, nothing less. And he would go and play once a week with his friends, or if work permitted, he'd skive off and go twice a week. And he'd enjoy his golf, or that's what he said. And we looked at it, and it was good exercise and good for his mind and good for him to escape from work. But his golf never really improved. And neither did the golf of his friends. So they would come back every week and we'd either have a drink around our table in the kitchen, or we would go off to the local pub or restaurant and meet up. And the conversation was generally the same. They would talk about how they'd performed that week. And you know, it struck me, they were never really happy about their performance. They were never happy enough that they could say, well done, and give themselves a pat on the back. They would moan about their golf. They would whinge about their golf. They didn't do this well, they didn't do that well. They performed better on this hole, but the rest of the game was rubbish. Then they'd add their scores up. And maybe you'll recognise yourself here, because this is a common thing amongst golfers. Adding their scores up. And then they'd look at the scores and not too happy with that. So then they'd add the first 9 up and the back 9 up. And then compare the front 9 to the back 9. Where did they perform best? What let them down in the back 9 compared to the front 9, or vice versa. Then they'd have a look at each hole individually and what went wrong on each hole. And was it their putting that was in fault this week? Was it their driving that is in fault this week? Did they hook it? Did they slice it? All these questions went on and on and on. But they didn't seem to come to a solution. What they did do, however, was what many, many golfers do. They looked to buying a solution. One of them would say, oh, I'm just trying these new golf balls. These new golf balls have really improved my golf. So then the whole group would go and try these new golf balls. Then one would come up with and say, oh, you know, I've read about this new driver. I'm going to go and buy a new driver. I think this new technology will help my golf. Off they'd trot, get a new driver. Or one would say, it's my irons, I've had them 3 years now, I think I need a change. Maybe I need a tailor-made set. That'll improve my golf. Off they'd go. Or a new putter. or golf lessons, or more practice, or more going to the driving range. All the time they were trying to improve their golf by buying a solution. It never ever entered their head that maybe the solution was up here. Maybe they needed to improve their golf by improving the way they thought. Now, week in, week out, the same pattern would happen in my house. After golf, it was like living through Groundhog Day. I can honestly tell you that's what it felt like. I hear the same stories week in, week out. And I just sat in the background. And I sat in the background because I wanted to listen to what they were saying. I wanted to hear how they were evaluating their game, how they were evaluating their performance. Because what they were saying was coming from the heart. It was their true feelings. They didn't even realize that they were being observed. And let me tell you, as a wife, sitting in the background, keeping stum, keeping this shut, is so difficult. Really difficult for me. There were so many things I wanted to help them with and tweak them with and this, that and the other, but I didn't. So I sat there quietly observing and taking it in. And all this information I was gathering, along with the information I was gathering from my sporting clients and the information I was getting from my everyday clients with everyday issues, I mashed together. And it struck me that a lot of the golfing issues were issues that happened with everyday clients as well, with their business, with their life. And if you could attack one area, it would help the other area. So I was busy developing techniques and methods that would really help my sporting clients. And at this time, I was getting more and more golfers. I would say 75% of my client base at this time was golfing people. So I was developing these methods and I was getting a thrill because my clients' sporting abilities and performances was going up. It was just going up and up and up. And this was fantastic to see. Whereas my husband and his friends, they were just going level. Just jogging along, no change, week in, week out, jogging along. And I thought, well, actually, what I'm doing then is working. This is evidence that what I do is working. You may ask, what has this story got to do with you? Well, this story is actually vital to your golf progress, because maybe you don't realize it, but your golf is stuck in a time warp. You are repeating the same problem over and over and over again, but you don't know it. You have those feelings of frustration, you may have anxiety sometimes if you have to enter a competition or a match, but you actually make the same mistakes without knowing why or what they are. Well, this is my challenge to you. I have set up a video blogging challenge on Facebook and on Google+, and I want you to take up this challenge, and after every golf game, you just do a little blog. Pick up your phone, turn the camera on. I'm not bothered how you look. Gosh, I know it's very hard to see yourself on video. It took me great courage to do it. I took such a long time to do this, and then I just met the fear head on and turned it into a challenge. And if you look at my YouTube videos, you see I've met the challenge by not wearing makeup, by doing it when my hair is all messy, which is a great big thing for a woman, I can tell you. But I wanted to meet the fear and get over it. And that's what I want you to do. Meet your fear and get over it on the video and in your golf. So I want you to do a short video each time you play golf. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 minutes long. Just let us know how you felt about your game, what you thought went well, what you thought went poorly, what you should really pat yourself on the back about. And just tumble out your feelings. Treat it as a golf confessional. That is the best way to look at it. Why do I think this will help you? Many reasons. One reason is you will have a record of how you play, how you feel, what's going well for you, what's going poorly for you, where you need to practice, where you need to get help. 2, the Google community and the Facebook community are so warm and welcoming that you will find if you watch other people's videos, they have the same issues. And you could give maybe a little helping prod, a little nice comment on their video. They can do back with you. And the community can help itself to improve. One person might have tried something that another one hasn't. And the other thing is, especially on the Google community, there are so many experts out there. There are so many golf professionals, there are golf coaches, there's people like me that will actually help you see where your golf is going, help you improve it. The other thing is you will actually pick up on negative areas of your golf. Areas where you're pulling yourself down, you're doing all this negative self-talk, you're actually pulling your confidence down, which isn't a good thing. 4, just offloading, even to a camera, can have a cathartic effect. It can actually make you feel better. It actually lets you offload and then you just rise. You feel better for it. And lastly, but I hope it's not the least important, I'm in those communities. So I can have a quick look here and there and I can put my 2 pence in as well that will help you. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to pick up this challenge and go with it. And I'm promising you it will seriously help your golf. Now, let's start off. Let's start off by you picking up your phone, your camera phone, and doing a quick 1 or 2 minute video. Introduce yourself. Let us know your name. Let us know where you play. Let us know what your handicap is. Let us know what your hopes, your dreams for your golf are. Let us know what you think is your biggest issue. Just introduce yourself. Well, I hope you found the video interesting. A lot of people ask me, they say, wow, your husband's golf must really be improving because there you are, helping everybody else. What's your husband's golf like? Oh, I'm sorry to report this, but there's no change in his golf. And you know why there's no change in his golf? Because he doesn't listen to his wife. Well, that's it for now. So, bye for now. See you soon.